you know, just working, get my body prepared to move up and things like that.
I think that Crawford will deal with the bigger man with his timing, with his legs.
Crawford all the way. Hey, listen, it's going to be a good fight, though. It's going to be a great fight. I love Canelo Alvarez. He's also one of my favorite fighters.
Yeah, that wide swinging left hook, them big looping right hands. Oh, he can straighten that right hand. You don't think they're going to be ready for that?
Terence Crawford has dropped a bombshell, revealing a secretive game plan to take down Canelo Alvarez and hinting that Floyd Mayweather himself may have had a hand in crafting it. In addition, Terence Crawford admitted that Canelo Alvarez is a great fighter and even confessed to being a fan, calling him one of the last active greats in the sport. Crawford acknowledged that taking on Canelo is a massive challenge, but said he's always chased the biggest moments and is looking forward to fight night. He added that his ultimate goal is to make history by becoming a 3-weight undisputed world champion.
Canelo's a great fighter. You know, he's respected. I'm a fan of Canelo. And like I said before, Canelo is the last of the great fighters that's available to fight. Canelo's at 168. It's a big task, but I'm always up for it. Big risk, big reward, and I want to be the first ever boxer to be a 3-weight undisputed world champion. You know, he's thick, but he's not, you know, this giant. So, you know, picking Canelo was a thing that we looked deeply into at the time.
However, trainer Ben Davidson made it clear that he heavily favors Canelo Alvarez in this clash. He admitted it would be shocking if Terence Crawford were to pull off the win, given the size, power, and experience stacked in Canelo's corner.
On the spot, Ben.
Yeah, we both think Canelo. Yeah, I can't speak for Lee, but I quite heavily favour Canelo. I know that he does favour Canelo. I think deep down Lee would like Crawford to do it because it's one of them, in our era, we had this amazing win go on. But yeah, I'm not going to go into details as to why, but yeah, I think...
Heavily favours him.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Would you be shocked if Crawford win then?
I would.
Yeah?
I would, myself. Can't speak for Lee, but I would be shocked, yeah.
Yeah,
Not to say I don't rate Crawford, I think
No,
he's a very,
of course.
very good fighter, but I just think that there's a huge underestimation of Canelo.
In contrast, Shakur Stevenson declared with confidence that as things stand right now, Terence Crawford will beat Canelo Alvarez.
Honestly, like, as of right now, I think Bud to beat Canelo. It's not going to switch. There's nothing that's going to change what I feel.
He stressed that nothing will change his stance in the fight. Stevenson highlighted that Crawford has been sharpening himself in sparring against opponents the same size as Canelo.
You have to see him, man. The people he spars, everybody that Bud Crawford spars, is the same size as Canelo. Like, all these guys that he's sparring is bigger guys. He don't even, like, he do spar with people his size sometimes, and sometimes they get in there with me. That's strictly for, like, you know, skill. That's strictly to keep his skills, his hand speed, the IQ level up. But the people that Bud Crawford spars is like big ass dudes, and I'm watching what he can do in the ring and sparring. It's nothing that's gonna change come fight night. And I hear y'all say that the 16s and the 8s is different. I agree, but y'all gotta realize Bud got on 8s too.
Adding to this, Fernando Vargas Jr. acknowledged that Terence Crawford is fiercely competitive and hates to lose. According to Fernando, this feat of Crawford, who hates losing, is exactly what will make this fight extremely competitive.
He's so competitive. He does not like losing in anything. And I like it. That's the way he feels. Like, that's why it's going to be a great fight, because he just doesn't want to lose in anything, like, at all. So, he's a competitor. Who do you got, Sean? I want to know from your perspective. I think Canelo. Come on, that.
But despite Crawford's drive and determination, Vargas Jr. made it clear that he believes Canelo Alvarez will ultimately come out on top.
Crawford's strong.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
He is strong. He's like, you know, one of those, like, skinny, strong dudes. Like, how are you so strong? He's one of those. He's just like, you know, I sparred him. Of course, his skill level was way better than mine, but I just thought I was able to kind of move him a little bit, or he knows how to use your strength against you, and I just feel he could get Canelo frustrated. You've seen Canelo pick people up and just get frustrated. So I think it's going to be a tough fight, but I feel Canelo, he should stop him 10th, 11th round, in my opinion.
According to Fernando, he has a friendly relationship with Terence Crawford, built on mutual respect and regard, and there is no bad blood between them. However, he still has his opinions when comparing the two, stating that Canelo Alvarez is the superior fighter and the one he expects to win.
You know, we always like show each other love. You know, we don't get too along with his stablemates, you know, the Davis brothers, the Vargas brothers all day. But he doesn't care about that. He has a lot of respect for my dad. Funny thing is, he does this watch thing that my dad does with us, with him and his sons. So my dad has a Rolex, and underneath it, engraved, it says Fernando Vargas Jr. on all of his jewelry. His cross piece, it says Amado on it. So he's like, he saw it at the fights one time. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
So now his like Rolex, it says his son's name on it, and so Crawford's really cool. I mean, it's nothing against him. I just feel Canelo's the better fighter.
Interestingly, Terence Crawford explained that the so-called secret game plan is no secret at all. For him, it comes down to plain old hard work, putting in the hours and preparing the right way. He said many people believe there is some hidden formula, but the truth is far simpler. In his view, anyone can thrive in the ring with relentless effort, proper training, and a consistent, well-balanced diet.
There's no secret. There's just hard work. You know, just working, get my body prepared to move up and things like that. A lot of people think it's a secret to it, but it's not. You know, being a boxer all my life and having to cut weight my whole life is, you know, difficult, but being able to just fight at your natural weight and, you know, eat properly and train how you want to train without having to hold back because you like, oh, I don't want to put on too much muscle, or I gotta watch this because I gotta make weight. And not having to have those worries, you know, is all that I ever had to do.
Backing Canelo, Jeron Boutsenes said the edge tilts toward Canelo Alvarez, stressing that Canelo has made a career out of handling bigger opponents. He noted that time and again, Canelo has stepped in against men who outweighed him on fight night, yet he consistently put them down with ease, showing that size has never been an obstacle for him. And due to that, he implied Terence does not stand a chance against Canelo.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been putting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So, I don't know. You know, it's gonna be a great fight. You know, the fans want to see it. So, you know, so be it.
On a side note, Earl Bernstein did not hold back, insisting that Canelo Alvarez should have been facing the true number one at 168, David Benavidez, instead of Terence Crawford. He argued that by choosing Crawford, Canelo is avoiding the real threat in his division, making it clear that this looks like a case of Canelo ducking Benavidez.
Who did Canelo fight in his last two matches?
Nobody.
Right,
Nobody.
I'm not saying he had to fight Benavidez. However, if you constantly dodge the number one 168 pounder and you're the 168 pound champion, I hate to say it, it's called ducking. Now, if we see a fight where Canelo Alvarez looks old, and guess what? He's old.
Yeah.
And it might be a case of him being less than he was. And it'll depend also on how much Crawford takes advantage of it. Let's say Canelo doesn't look great, but we can't say the same about Crawford in this fight.
However, Teddy Atlas stated that Terence Crawford can deal with Canelo Alvarez through his timing and footwork. He pointed out that while Crawford may be older in age, he does not carry the same wear and tear that Canelo does.
I think that Crawford will deal with the bigger man with his timing, with his legs. I know he's 37 years old, but he's not a used up. I used the analogy earlier of a car. You know, this ain't a car with a lot of miles on the odometer, buddy. You know, but it's not. I know he's 37 years old, but this is like going and looking at one of those vintage classic cars. Yeah, he's 37 years old. He's not used up. He hasn't been in a million wars. He takes care of himself. He lives the right life.
According to Atlas, Crawford does not have the miles on his body that Canelo has accumulated, and that freshness could make all the difference in fight night.
In some ways, I might say I'm more worried about Canelo getting old even though he's a couple years younger, he's what, 3 years younger, I'd be more concerned about him getting old because he has had 67 or 66 fights, whatever that number is. I'd be more concerned about that because I don't judge, and the old timers didn't either, fighters chronologically as much as I do by the amount of fights they've had and the amount of punches they've taken. I judge them that way.
Building on that, Tim Bradley Jr., who has been shifting his stance repeatedly, has now come forward with a bold new prediction, declaring that Terence Crawford will win. Bradley said this fight will go down as one of the greatest in boxing history, with Crawford silencing all doubters once and for all. He insisted that Crawford will prove himself the best in the world and elevate his name into GOAT status by knocking out Canelo Alvarez.
Y'all gonna be crying. Y'all gonna be upset. And I'll tell y'all this. Netflix, listen up. When this man get the knockout, because he gonna knock out Canelo Alvarez. When he get the knockout, don't forget Miss Deborah, get that shit down. So we can document this, because it's gonna be one of the greatest performances you've ever witnessed in the sport of boxing by Terence Bud Crawford. Knocking out somebody that's been in the ring with some of the heaviest punches in the game. Heaviest punches. Triple G is legendary. Didn't put a dent in Canelo. Now just watch what Crawford does.
Echoing that perspective, Bruce "Shoo Carrington expressed his full support for Terence Crawford, even while admitting that Canelo Alvarez is one of his favorite fighters to watch. Carrington insisted that Crawford has the tools to spring the upset, acknowledging that size is the biggest obstacle, but stressing that Crawford's fight IQ and slick footwork can carry him through. He predicted the clash would go the distance and says Crawford smart enough to navigate his way to a decision.
Crawford all the way. Hey, listen, it's going to be a good fight, though. It's going to be a great fight. I love Canelo Alvarez. He's also one of my favorite fighters to watch as well. But Crawford, I feel like he has what it takes to bring the upset. I really do. Granted, the size is a big issue, and the power. But I feel like Crawford, he has the skill, he has the IQ, and the footwork to get away with it, for sure.
Do you see that fight going to the decisions, though, or knockout?
Yeah, I see it going to decision, for sure.
Moreover, Eddie Hearn described the fight as a rare spectacle between two pound-for-pound greats entering the twilight of their careers. He called it a fascinating matchup built on elite ring IQ and pointed out that one of the biggest storylines will be how Terence Crawford manages Canelo Alvarez's size and whether the weight difference proves too much to overcome once the bell rings.
I guess the big conversation is how the weight will affect Bud and how he will respond to the size. You know, we got a situation where in Los Angeles, Crawford didn't look that big against the 154. In fact, I thought Madrimov looked the bigger, the stronger guy in that fight. I thought it was a very, very close fight, that fight. Now you're going up 2 divisions at 168 for Canelo Alvarez, who is, you know, a pound-for-pound legend of the sport.
Hearn added that Crawford's chances hinge on sticking to his game plan, stressing that the real test will come when he feels Canelo Alvarez's power. The key, he noted, will be whether Crawford can absorb those shots, stay composed, and continue executing under relentless pressure from the Mexican superstar.
And I think if Terence Crawford decides to box elusively in this fight, I think he's going to really have success. When he gets hit, that's really the million-dollar question. How can he hang at 168? When you spend time with both of them, they're both so confident, you actually can't see him losing. Bud talks a brilliant game, and he's walked the walk continuously. And he has probably the best boxing IQ in the game. I probably, and you know, Canelo's my guy, but I probably lean slightly.
On the other hand, Luke Thomas held firm on his stance, saying Canelo Alvarez should be the one to win this fight. He argued there is no real reason to think Canelo cannot get it done, especially with the size advantage that will inevitably come into play. Thomas highlighted Canelo's chin as the best in the sport and stressed that Crawford should not be able to overcome the gulf in power, weight, and durability.
I'm going to say it exactly the same everywhere I go. Canelo should win this. He should win this. There's every reason to think he should win this. Even at the, well, he's not old, but he's been doing this a very long time. I think he made his pro debut at 15 in Mexico. I a lot of miles, but he is much bigger. He is a dominant puncher. He has arguably one of the best chins in the history of the sport. Canelo's chin is absolutely legendary. So if you're Bud, you should not win this fight. Yes, he went up to 54 and fought Madrimov and looked good. Not like world beater, but good. And now he has to go up 2 more after that, and the Madrimov one was bigger than the weight class that he fought Spence at 47.
Nevertheless, Luke admitted that deep down he wishes Crawford would pull it off, as Canelo has been disappointing in the final chapters of his career. He gave his props to Crawford to make weight and do the impossible by stepping up to face Crawford.
Bud shouldn't win. I just hope that he does. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying this. I've been so insanely disappointed with how Canelo has conducted this last chapter of his career and the bullshit answers that he's given. And so disappointing that, Bud going all that way up to risk it would be kind of interesting to me if he can win, but you can see why this is so insanely difficult what he's trying, right? I couldn't even think of somebody else who could do something like this. That's crazy.
Meanwhile, Wade Plemons from The Wade Concept explained that what makes this fight so intriguing is Terence Crawford's vision and anticipation. He pointed out that Crawford's counterpunching is razor sharp, often catching opponents with shots they never even see coming. Wade referenced the Errol Spence fight, noting how Crawford landed counters so clean and precise they were almost invisible in real time.
That is what Terence Crawford has made a living off of, is as soon as you throw, boom, I'm going. Hooks, straight punches, counter, check hook, all that. So that is, again, what makes this fight interesting, is that Crawford has great eyes and he has great anticipation, and his counter punching is usually pretty damn sharp. You watch the Spence fight and he lands some counter punches you didn't even see. This is why I favor Canelo in the fight. Terence is the one moving up weight. Terence is the one going into unfamiliar territory. Terence is the one fighting up a level, not just in competition, weight, everything. No one on Terence Crawford's resume, again, even Errol Spence after the car crash, is as good as Canelo is even right now, let alone Canelo, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So there's no concessions that Canelo has to make. There wasn't even a rehydration or anything like that.
But Wade admitted that he still cannot make up his mind on who he thinks will win, though lately he has leaned slightly toward Canelo Alvarez. He said this matchup is everything Canelo could want, facing one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. At the same time, Wade gave full credit to Terence Crawford for embracing every underdog angle of this fight and stepping up to take on such a massive challenge.
And yes, Terence Crawford's a great fighter. I expect this to be a great fight. Fantastic. Back and forth. I still, flip-flop a little bit on who I think's going to win up until recently, and I've just kind of solidified that I think it's going to be Canelo. But still, this is everything Canelo wanted, as well as one of the greatest fighters in the world with Terence Crawford. Whereas Terence is having to go against the grain, go up to really 3 weight classes, fight for his first time at 168, for all the belts. It's incredible, dude. You have to give Terence Crawford the credit that he is willing to say yes to every, underdog point of this fight. He's done.
In the end, Andre Ward acknowledged that danger in Crawford's massive leap up in weight, but maintained full faith in his abilities.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat him.
Ward stressed that no one has yet shown the ability to crack Crawford, underscoring his belief that the undefeated champion has every chance to rise to the occasion against Canelo.
I just take my hat off to both of these fighters for putting everything on the line late in their careers the way that they are. This is rare, and it's becoming more and more rare in boxing. Guys don't want this kind of smoke. They really don't want to face another counterpart that can ruin everything that they've built. And it really don't matter how much money's on the table for a lot of guys. They'd rather take a lesser risk for less money than to risk everything like these two fighters are doing. So I take my hat off to them. And I also want to give a shout out to Turki Al-Sheikh for all that he's done to put this fight on. Dana White for all that he's done to put this fight on. And one more person that stays out the way and you don't really hear a lot about, but that has done a lot to make this fight happen as well.
With opinions split and tensions at an all-time high, Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford is shaping up to be a fight that could redefine boxing history. When the bell rings, all the talk ends and the world will finally see if Crawford can shock the world or if Canelo will cement his place as one of the sport's all-time greats. So, let us know your thoughts and predictions in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and hit the subscribe button. Share this video with a fellow boxing fan, and we will see you in the next video with exciting updates.